Hello and welcome back to FrogClan. Today we are picking up where we left off at the end of Moon 146. Last episode we encountered tragedy when long-term deputy Bright Torrent unfortunately got washed out to sea, trying to save one of her other clanmates. And we are definitely not short of cats, but we will definitely miss her greatly. So, without any further ado, we are going to jump into Moon 147. Our goal today is to get through Moon 149, and we will be going into the extinction event next episode. It may or may not happen, but that's our goal. So let's jump to Moon 147. Moving into Moon 147, our first event here is Ceremony. Frozen Sun sits in the crowd, chests puffed out in pride as they watch Blue Paw be named Blue Scratch, and honored for their drive. They consider themselves lucky to have been able to train such an amazing young cat, and look forward to seeing the warrior they become. I don't really hate Blue Scratch for Blue Paw, honestly. I'm curious to see how he's aged because he was super confident before, so I've got my eye on him. Unfortunately, Hope's son was found dead near the FrogClan border. This past moon, they've taken their place in StarClan while their loss is mourned. I'm definitely sad about Hope's son because I did have quite a bit of interest in him as well. I was actually kicking around the idea of him as deputy at one point, but that didn't turn out, and now I think that's may have been for the best. Snipstar's bite wound is healed. I don't see anything about a scar, so I'm gonna assume no new mutations there. Dancing Paw's stomachache is finally gone. Briarpaw has gotten a heat exhaustion. Blue Scratch wasn't looking where they were going and tripped over a small trunk, spraining their paw. Rook Ghost no longer has a running nose, but unfortunately there seems to be an infection growing in their bone. What's up, River? Yeah? You can join me. Tawny Feather has healed well from the broken jaw they suffered, but they've gotten fleas. Perch Spots no longer has a stomachache, and we noticed some rosemary has gone bad. Our other clans is just Hope's son was found dead near FrogClan border again. And then Fogkit was scolded after sneaking out of camp. We have so many cats, look at them all. Snipstar is lecturing Delta Paw on the warrior code. I did check in her history tabs here. I don't see any new mentions of scars, so I think she's exactly the same. So nothing new there. Stinky Laurel is stepping up into her role as deputy and is currently assessing the apprentices. Looks like Lilac Pelt, one of our newer warriors turned medicine cats, is pranking Stinky Laurel, the new deputy. I feel like these two honestly probably get along pretty well. They're pretty similar in age, and they're both stepping into pretty major roles for the clan kind of unexpectedly. So I can definitely see these two older gals getting along. Songjay is checking up on the warriors. Curldon was having a nightmare. Lakepaw is still sick with white cough. She's getting close to a medicine cat name, but I don't know if she's gonna make it before the event. And she's currently spending her time gossiping. Maple Dawn is accidentally making an argument worse, and Greenpaw isn't reacting when their mentor praises them for a good catch. I think with all of our mediators, we're just going to mediate some random couples in the clan, just to try and do what good we can. Starting next moon though, it's not really gonna help if we don't have any more kits at that point, so I'll just randomly mediate people for the better and hope that that comes out well in the final event. So at first we have Snakefern and Stinky Laurel, Frozen Sun and Whimsy Shade, and then Skystalk and Hyacinth Petal. For all of these particular couples, I don't know that this is really going to make a difference since they did have very strong feelings, but it's really hard to know for sure, so just in case. Websum is formally into her elder years at Moon 120 here, but she's still acting as a warrior, so I wouldn't be surprised if she's trying to see this event out before she retires. And right now she wants to critique Frozen Sim's fighting techniques. Princess Light is currently in the medicine cat den, chatting with Curl Dawn about what it's like to be a medicine cat. For a kitty pet into the clan, it must be very strange to have cat doctors sending to you. Cleo Crawl is pretending to be a big evil warrior for Shortkit. Hair Shadow is thinking about where they belong. Hair Shadow has long had some problems settling into the clan. And that could be part of her heritage, or it could just be part of her personality. But I felt like she's starting to move past this. With the stress of the event coming up, though, I can see some old insecurities resurfacing. Ricko's broken bone is infected, and she feels a sense of dread. That is not a good combination. Tiny Slash is still in the medicine cat den, and he has been disappearing often recently. Never a good sign for a bloodthirsty cat, especially when we've got a very bloodthirsty event on the horizon. Although I don't think Snipstar would ever suspect a cat to have anything to do with what's to come. She still doesn't know the nature of the event. Comfrey Ash thinks Snipstar could be leading the clan better. Since Snipstar still hasn't really made any preparations for the clan's camp, I'm sure quite a few cats are thinking the same. K-Spec is currently daydreaming about being a warrior in Leopard Clan. With his childish nature, I can see him having very grandiose thoughts about war and fighting in general, as well as the strength that he's been afforded. And I can definitely see him making some comparisons to his unnatural strength and talon paws to some of the bigger cats. Minnospots is currently being begged by Shortkit to tell them about what being a loner was like. Minnospots is still injured with a broken back. She's been hurt for 5 moons, which is quite a while, but she could be hurt a lot longer with that particular condition, so I don't know if she'll be on her feet for the final event. Dusty Cuddles saw some wandering two-legs today. Seagull Dusk has received several invitations to share tongues and is deciding which to take. Very, very popular cat. Alrighty, so here's our newest warrior, Blue Scratch. He is still confident. He has grown to be an impressive climber. That's actually the first time I've seen that, I think. And a good speaker. So Blue Scratch was mentored by Frozen Sim, who influenced them to be more likely to refrain from socializing, try to avoid violence, and heed their inner compass. Frozen Sim helped them become better at climbing, and when they graduated, they were honored for their drive. He is hurt with a sprain, but we do know what he looks like. Healthy. And I think I will keep his name as Blue Scratch for now. Perch Spots is currently complaining about being sent on Dawn Patrol. She is hurt with a claw wound still, but this is what she looks like all grown up. I, for some reason, was picturing her as being a smaller cat, but this particular artwork I always foresee as being a bit of a bulkier cat, so I guess that's just surprising to me, but she is very pretty nonetheless. Warblerpaw is currently acting angsty. Briarpaw is sick with heat exhaustion, but she's reenacting a move that she saw Jellyfish Wave do all the same. And then we get into Hope Sun's kit, starting with Blazepaw, who helped to bury Hope Sun, leaving their favorite prey at the grave. Cinnamon Paw, Hope Sun's other kit, doesn't really seem too affected, proclaiming her unwavering loyalty to her mentor. I mean, she liked Hope Sun, but there's a little bit of tension there. And still feels kind of cold too. Not really mourn him at all, but I guess that's just how she feels. Delta Paw had a very strange dream. I've seen a couple of places about cats giving advice to Delta Paw, so I'm wondering if this strange dream wasn't actually a vision that other cats are trying to help him interpret. Savvyback is having a good day. Hatchwell is telling tall tales. Jirachi Lightning is feeling down right now. I can't really say that's surprising, sadly, seeing as Brighthorn is gone. Olive Kid is almost an apprentice, though. He currently has tiny little paws. Cops Kid is annoying older cats. Conch Kid is never saying please or thank you. Zanaya Kid? I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to say that. Alrighty, sorry about that. Maintenance person came in to replace our microwave because apparently it has been broken this entire time we've lived here for 1.5 years. So I'm not really sure what I can keep in when I'm editing it out, but here is a grown-up version of Zaniakit or Zaniakit. Here is FrogClan, also looking a bit more grown up. He is lonesome, never sits still. Very pretty, like autumnal color. Then we have NectarKit, know-it-all and confident with words, a very dangerous combination, and she is trying to sneak out of camp. And that is all of our many cats, so we'll head out on patrols. Snakefern gathers some Elaine. I love how it also describes Snakefern as the always reliable Snakefern too. Lilac Pelt is padding through the territory when they feel a presence join them. With a respectful nod, Lilac Pelt pauses, tucking their paws together neatly, and sits to converse with the StarClan cat. Poppy was gathered. So, I feel like Lilac Pelt is probably getting some extra guidance from the StarClan just because she's not as familiar with various herbs and treatments. Not like the other medicine cats who grew up doing it, so I can definitely see if she's more attuned to their ancestors to be kind of guiding or relying on their guidance right now. Songjay takes Ridgepaw out to gather some Elaine, and they could swear that there's usually some around here, but not this time, so I don't manage to gather anything there. And Curldon finds a patch of marigold, harvests its best leaves and flowers, and pads home, unaware of how much of their success rests on their talent for herb gathering. Fluffy Haven takes a training patrol out. They see a pod of dolphins swimming in the distance and consider it a good learning opportunity for the apprentices. Fluffy Haven tells a mournful and haunting tale of all the cats that were swept out to sea and drowned before the dolphins took pity on one of them. Fluffy Haven tells the apprentices that the tiny white and red cat that was saved made the first traditions and bonds with the dolphins, and that both clan and dolphins wept at their death when it came. I feel like this is referring to a specific, like, media, movie, book or something, but I don't really know what that is. So if anybody does know, please let me know in the comments. While helping gathering herbs, Sweetleaf stumbles upon a bush of red berries. That's scary because Sweetleaf is also bloodthirsty, but we'll proceed. Whatever. Identifying them as a medicine cat problem. You used to be a medicine cat. Fishpaw plucks the berries and brings them back to camp, and it turns out they're raspberries. Oh, Fleetleaf. I was hoping that Fleetleaf could have a better chance at doing things, but never fails to surprise me. And Dancing Paw stumbles upon a bush of red berries this time. Unsure but remembering kitten tales of the death berries, Dancing Paw avoids them, giving the rest of the patrol a heads up about the potentially dangerous bush. I'll definitely take this over somebody getting poisoned, especially since I don't think we're really going to be turning away from many patrols right now. Trailing behind the next training patrol, the dune that they're crossing shifts beneath Comfrey Ash's paws. They look around wildly for safe footing, just as the sand caves in beneath them and the world goes dark. Creeping in as close as possible, Blazepaw purrs their clanmate, keeping them calm as the patrol carefully digs down to them. I believe Blazepaw is wise, so I think that really showcases the kind of head Blazepaw is at. I sent out Bluffong Conifer Speckle along with Evening Mist together. While Conifer Speckle isn't an apprentice, I just wanted them to get some more training in. And they have disagreement, looking to Evening Mist to settle the dispute. Evening Mist spends so much time listening sympathetically to every cat that the patrol gets nothing done. As they return home, the quarrel continues. Our first border patrol notices some suspicious paw prints in the wet sand on the beach. Boldly, Furbyshine follows the paw prints to a trespassing rogue and confronts them. Fur puffed up and scowling, the patrol demands the rogue leave the territory. Intimidated by Furbyshine's confidence and number of cats, the rogue gives in and leaves without a fight. I find it interesting that Tawny Feather and Furbysshine were named cats, while Crestbellow was the leader. I think that just goes to show that Furbysshine may have some more natural leadership tendencies. Our next patrol stumbles across a large dog, wandering in the middle of the clan's territory. This is being led by Snipstar, and given our event, she's not going to take this kind of threat lightly. Frozen Sim, however, selflessly throws himself into the fight, Every time the dog tries to grab at their clanmates, they're there with their claws, fur puffed out to twice their normal size. With Rosenstone defending them, the patrol drives the dog off, yowling triumphantly. Of all the cats that really took charge there, Rosenstone honestly kind of surprises me. I thought he was a fierce trait, but I don't see that under the patrol trait, so if he is a fighting skill, then that could be why he really took the lead there. Our next patrol spots a badger making a den on ClanGen territory. World Apple is not willing to let any cat die to a badger. They order the patrol to continue on while they wait on an ClanGen patrol to come by and give them a warning about the badger, improving our relationships with them. There are dark clouds on the horizon, and Hair Shadow wonders if the patrol should continue. Hair Shadow's plenty of passes, and this is the one event I'm never going to risk. So we head back early. Our final patrol hears a cat begging for their housefolk to come back, just barely legible over the sound of a monster speeding away. Skystalk finds a kitty pet collapsed by the thunder path, wailing for their housefolk. Skystalk comforts them, asking why they were left here. The only explanation they have is that they're sick, perhaps too much of a burden. Skystalk offers them a place in FrogClan, at least until they're better. They tentatively accept, looking longingly at the thunder path as they're led away. Alright, let's check out our new addition. Alrighty, so our newcomer is Odetta Whisker, which is a really pretty name, Odetta. She is an adult female with gold eyes and a torty pelt, so I think she may have a different color tail, kind of like Minnow. She has a rainbow bell collar, which you can kind of see as well. She is cold and a lore keeper, currently sick with yellow cough. They join the clan by choice after living their life as a kitty pet. This is what Odetta Whisker looks like healthy, and oh my gosh, between this rainbow tail and the collar, it is just a very, very pretty cat. But let's see if she has any traits. She does come with one. Alrighty, so Odetta comes in with Talon Paws. Definitely not too bad, and I think that could well serve us going into the next event, since that's usually a pretty good offensive trait. So that is our only newcomer for the moon. Moving into Moon 148, we have a very unexpected development. FrogClan has declared war against WormClan. It looks like we're already fighting, with the brutal battle against WormClan leaving World Apple injured. And heightened battle training has left Warbler Paws sore and tired. That's a very interesting development. I feel like we wouldn't necessarily be looking for a fight on two different fronts right now. So if we are declaring war, then we don't have any other choice in the matter. The question is, do we want to attribute this as part of an upcoming event, or just an external threat coming in? And I think just for now, we're going to treat this as an external threat coming in. There are currently just bloodthirsty cats at our border trying to push FrogClan out of their easily defendable territory. They don't really say much about their motives and what's causing them to be willing to fight. They don't really say much about their motives, what would cause them to suddenly be willing to lay down their life and attempt to take over FrogClan's territory, but one can only assume it has something to do with the basic survival of their group. And what little the warriors manage to glean from their opponent seems to align in with this. The cats that they're fighting do not think that they have a choice, and they basically think it is their lives or FrogClan's. And so that is what we are up against. Snipstar, I'm sure, is really feeling the strain of this difference, as she now has to worry about the prophecy and these other rogues trying to push them out. I think right now she's pushing the clan to be as battle ready as they can be between battle training, constant border patrols, and trying to get our cats that are injured or sick as rested as they can so that they can be ready to fight at a moment's notice. Dusty Cuddles can hardly believe how quickly time has passed since Bluff Paw was a kit. It still feels just like yesterday they were tumbling around the nursery, chasing after a moss ball or some other cat's tail. Misty-eyed with pride and joy, Dusty Cuddles throws her head back and tries to cheer the loudest as Bluff Paw is named Bluff Snow and honors her their dignity. Newly made apprentice Allapaw touches noses with their new mentor White Stripe. Brightorrent's last kit. Snipsar stands above the clan and proclaims that Cinnamon Paw shall now be known as Cinnamon Laurel, honoring their appreciation. That's a really pretty name, it's just so long. In their eagerness, Shorepaw accidentally shoves her nose into Bluff's nose so hard that Bluff Snow flinches back in surprise. Shorepaw sheepishly apologizes, and the two have a good laugh about it. Rumors reach our clan that the loner Rainbow Tuft has died recently. I think we checked out Rainbow Tuft a bit, and I think they were very pretty cats, so that's unfortunate, but not unexpected. And Comfreyash drowned after being pushed out to sea by WormClan warriors. So I think it's definitely do or die in the eyes of WormClan, or, well, the rogues that are going to be collectively known as WormClan for this particular event. But it's just really worrying that it's already so deadly. And Comfreyash has taken their place in StarClan the last moon. Lagoon Feather's running nose has finally stopped running. A brutal battle against the rogues leaves World Apple injured. Maple Dawn's running nose has finally stopped running. Casebeck has gotten fleas. Hyacinth Petal has gotten heat exhaustion. Curl Dawn's running nose is gone. Seagull Dusk has gotten fleas. Gorsans tells himself that they can't live with letting those feelings consume them. Instead, they have to learn to live with it, moving on from their grief of Brightorrent. Mousestripe heal from their mangled tail, but will forever be marked by a scar. That's actually really good. We get to roll for a new mutation for Mousestripe. Scalestripe overexerted himself and is feeling extremely sore, likely due to heightened battle training there. Lakepaw no longer has White Croft, but has instead gotten heat exhaustion. Heightened battle training has left Warblerpaw sore and tired. Bluffsnow has gotten fleas. Briarpaw dazedly rolls around their nest searching for a cooler spot. Their exhaustion is beyond just a little thing, and their confused brain still has enough observational power to recognize full heat stroke. Poor Briarpaw. Deltapaw has gotten fleas, so we're in a bit of an outbreak right now. The infection Rook Ghost's wound has abated, which is good, and Tawny Feather is free of fleas. And we've noticed some Bentley will have to be replaced as it's gone bad. Okay, so it is just Mousestripe that is getting a new mutation. We'll start off doing that. I'm at the point where I pretty much just have to search for a cat because there's no way I can scroll through all the pages and find them easily. She recently almost died of embarrassment after a recent fumble on a patrol. Poor Mousestripe. She currently just has a thick ruff, which is on her body. Given where the scar is, I think we'll roll for her tail. Alrighty, and Mousestripe actually rolls for multi-tail. So that's not too bad. It's not a negative trait, and that's really my only stipulation right now. Snipsar doesn't seem to be too concerned with anything going on right now. She's just observing some kitty pets playing with colorful moss balls. Stinky Laurel, similarly, is spending time watching fish in the nearby river. Snakefern is eavesdropping on Swiftpaw, so I wonder if he's got some suspicions about something going on there. Songjay is giving advice to Sick Cat. Leonelfern is negotiating trading herbs with a rival clan. I mean, given the fact that we are now very pressed on the battlefront, she's probably trying to get whatever battle-related herbs she can. And since at this point having kits isn't going to help us at all, we're just going to mediate some random cats here. Alrighty. Maybe something there will result in some good. Maple Dawn is relieved that she broke up an argument before it started. We definitely can't afford infighting on 2 different fronts right now. And Greenpaw is wondering if kitty pet life is really so bad, especially compared to what's going on right now, I'm sure. Furby Shine is trying to set a good example for younger cats. I'm sure that would be really necessary right now, just putting on a brave face for nothing else. Crestfellow is also trying to do the same. Has his hair shadow. So yeah, I definitely think the older warriors are trying to put on a brave face right now. I think a lot of the apprentices graduated pretty early there too, so I'm sure they're also just trying to inspire confidence in the newfound warriors. Tawny Feather is also trying to set a good example. Workghost is still injured, and she currently wants to critique Blue Scratch's fighting techniques. Odetta Whisker is feeling a bit perplexed, probably just by all of the sudden rush and go around camp when she may not really understand exactly why it's so imperative. Daisy May is currently policing everyone's posture. Gardenia Sun, meanwhile, is enjoying some peace and quiet away from others while she recovers. Fluffy Haven is keeping mood up by chasing their own tail and making others laugh. Skysock is feeling down. That could just be somewhat of her grief or stress too. Lagoon Feather is arguing for more battle training for the apprentices. I know that at least one apprentice was sore from heightened battle training, so it could be possibly due to Lagoon Feather's influence, but I think even without him, Snipstar is probably pushing the apprentices to their brink right now. Fleet Leaf is sparring. Jellyfish Wave is bringing a list of complaints for Snipstar. World Apple is hurt with a claw wound, which could feasibly be a mutation before our last event if she heals quick, and she's winking at a clanmate across the clearing. Whimsy Shade is thinking about a strange chilling object they saw recently. Again, more strange objects. Hyacinth Petal got roped up in watching Furled Kit for the day. Well, Hyacinth Petal is sick, so if you're going to be in camp anyway, current logic stands that you can at least watch the kids. Dusty Cuddles is unsure of their clanmates' confidence in the safety of FrogClan. Again, that could do with the defense of the clan itself, or their self-assurance that they can pull through anything that could be thrown at them. Gorsance is feeling all better, so she will be back on patrols again. Skillshripe is praying to StarClan for guidance. He's probably hoping to get a bit of a prophecy himself about what's to come. Blue Scratch is thinking that he is the fiercest fighter in the clan meanwhile. So here's Bluff Snow. He is definitely a little bit young, as far as new warriors go. He grew to be troublesome and a talented swimmer. Mentored by Evening Mist, who influenced them to be more likely to put others at ease and use words over teeth and claws. They graduated, they were honored for their dignity. I really don't dislike Bluff Snow as a name. I just don't really think it's super fitting for a brown cat, so I'm going to change his suffix. Bluff Bat is just as good as anything else, so yeah, newest warrior, Bluff Bat. And then there's Cinnamon Laurel, who is loyal and an eloquent speaker, currently listening to Deputy intently. Oh, I didn't realize that Cinnamon Laurel went through so many mentors. So Cinnamon Laurel was mentored by Hopesun, Comfrey-Ash, and Scratchheart. Oh man, that's just such a rough progression there. So Scratchheart must have taken over for the very tail end of her assessments. Hopesun influenced her to be more likely to step out of her comfort zone, dwell on things, and start a fight. Comfrey-Ash influenced her to be more likely to be slow to anger. Scratchheart influenced her to be more likely to make her own rules and try to avoid violence. Few conflicting lessons there. Hopesun helped her become better at arguing, as did Comfrey-Ash and Scratchheart, so everybody really strengthened the arguing point. When they graduated, they were honored for their appreciation. Graduating 11 moons old. I'm very curious to see what the future has in store for her. Warbler Paw wants to be taught an advanced hunting move. Dancing Paw is playing pranks, and will probably be made a warrior next moon. Briar Paw is unfortunately very sick, still playing pranks though. Swift Paw is also playing pranks. Fish Paw is showing off to the kids. Classic older apprentice thing to do. So here's Olive Paw. He's currently playing a prank on Crestbillow. He grew to be charismatic and constantly climbing. Then we have Shorepaw. He's wondering if StarClan has given Curldon any prophecies lately. His mentor is Bluffbat. He is oblivious but a lover of stories. I just love like these white patternings. I think for a cat named Shore too, that's really cool with like kind of inconsistent marks. But I'm very curious to see what he'd look like grown up. Savvyback is giving some questionable advice to the younger generation. Trashy Lightning is looking forward to today, however. She's still grieving. Copskit will be an apprentice next moon, and is currently annoying older cats. Alrighty, and the kits are all just being troublesome. But very, very cute. So send our patrols. Snakefern heads out to find some dandelions, convinced that Greenleaf's bounty means they should be easy to find. Unfortunately, he's proven wrong, and Snakefern can't gather from this patch without killing off already damaged plants. Pelt is the unfortunate cat to gather some wild garlic to restock the stores. Songjay heads out to gather fresh mallow for the stores with Ridgepaw. The soft, rose-like scent of the mallow bushes drifts around Songjay and Ridgepaw as they work. They sniff off clumps of large, fuzzy, three-node leaves and the occasional pink flower to be taken back to camp. Bees hum through the air, not trying to bother the medicine cats, and Songjay points out where they think the hive might be to Ridgepaw and gather some mallow. Curldon is having some problems, overtired from caring for patients all day and night. The only cobwebs Curldon manages to collect are ones they walk into. This is a training patrol, just looks so absurd to me. So I think we'll pair them with a more experienced mentor, like Stinky Laurel. Stinky Laurel sees a pod of dolphins swimming in the distance and considers it a good learning opportunity for the apprentices. And Stinky Laurel tells a mournful and haunting tale of the white and red cat that first joined the two species together, and how both cats and dolphins wept at their death. As Sweetleaf sets the cats up to practice together, Olipaw and Fishpaw sit in the back, hiding their lashing tails as they plan their prank. Unfortunately, Fleetleaf sees their whispers and separates the two apprentices, preventing their plot. Our next training patrol wants to hold a session for Dancing Paw. They decide to focus on how best to navigate the rocky tide pools. Delta Paw struggles to take the lessons seriously, and eventually the training session ends early with no real progress made. While Swiftpaw and Fluffy Haven are out walking, Swiftpaw seems preoccupied. When Fluffy Haven brings their patrol to a halt to ask what's wrong, they reveal they've been having a hard time sleeping. Their dreams are filled with shadows and images. Swiftpaw isn't a kid anymore, and though Fluffy Haven tries to be gentle about it, it's their responsibility to make sure they're rested and attentive for training. Our final training patrol goes to see a big octopus in one of the rock pools. K-Spec points out the dangers of the creature, explaining how some FrogClan stories tell of a dark forest cat who tried to escape into the ocean, only to be cursed by StarClan into a monster with legs sprouting from each claw. Malapaw and Warblerpaw watch the octopus contort itself, more like with an animal, and frighteningly, they see how it could be a sea cat. Cleo Girl finds a wounded cat near the Thunderpath. The patrol approaches the injured cat and sees signs of life. Alarmed, they gently pick up the cat and take them back to camp to be treated. The grateful cat then decides to join the clan. Dart Stripe has joined the clan. Read that as Dark Stripe at first. Oh, and here they are. So Dart Stripe is a trans female senior adult cat with a classic brown pelt and silver eyes. She is 99 moons old, adventurous, an impressive climber, and good hunter. She is unfortunately injured with a broken jaw, so she's going to be down a while. Dart Stripe got washed away from their former territory in a flood that destroyed their home, but was glad to find a new home in their clan here. And does she come with anything at all? Dart Stripe is a normal cat, unfortunately. And this is what Dart Stripe would look like healthy. I really like the kind of red-brown with the silver combination. That's just a very flattering combination. Color there. Okay. So as Furby Shine is checking the border lines, they notice that some rogues sent us straight into the territory. These rogues have been hostile recently. This can't be good. I'm a little torn because I feel like we wouldn't really take this kindly, which leads to me wanting to antagonize. but if they are coming to try and negotiate, or if it's like an innocent reason that they're on our territory, this could make the war go on a lot longer. I think we'll just proceed as normal here. Doesn't take long to find the Worm Clan apprentice that left the scent. The young cat is aggressive and hostile, but Skystalk is quick to de-escalate the situation. After a gentle conversation, the apprentice begrudgingly apologizes for the trespass, and relationships have improved. So I think this is more than likely a younger cat that thought they could kind of storm the fortress, so to speak. But when met without immediate hostility, they kind of came to realize the error of their ways, and on some level, the rogues do appreciate the cats returning the youngling without much issue. As our next patrol is marking the border lines, a gang of rogues stalks out of the beach grass to confront us. I'm not really liking our odds here, because we've got an older cat and a basically apprentice warrior. But we do have 4 cats, and again, I don't think FrogClan is really going to be in a position to back down, so we'll proceed. Gore takes the lead, confronting the gang with confidence. Eventually, the rogues admit that they've been struggling to find enough prey and were looking to steal richer territory from the clan. Tensions are eased when Gore informs the rogues of a prey-rich forest outside of our territory. I feel like just given current flavor, it's probably a bit more likely that we drove them away without immediate bloodshed just by virtue of intimidation. But we did hear a little bit about some of their motives and that there's something encroaching on their territory, so now they need to take FrogClans. And it's the same exact thing. I don't like hitting these sorts of events multiple times in a row because I feel like it's asking for something bad to happen. We'll still proceed. Lagoon Feather, however, revels in this battle, leaping into the fray with teeth bared and claws ready, quickly driving the rogues away from the patrol. Alright, so this is a bit more of a traditional battle. And with that, we will go into our last moon before our big event. Okay, moving into moon 149. First and foremost, mutual exhaustion has pushed both FrogClan and WormClan to consider ending the war. Then going into miscellaneous, tensions between FrogClan and WormClan are palpable, with even the smallest actions potentially leading to violence. And Dusty Cuddles was seen touching noses with a loner. Scandalous. So, I feel like, just given current circumstances, they're both fighting to the point of exhaustion. The rogues for their lives, FrogClan for their home. And that's obviously going to be a very strenuous activity, a very tense one. So I feel like they're definitely not really letting up on the tensions, even though it's so exhausting that they both want to give up on some level. Going into our ceremonies, though, Snipsar rests her muzzle on Warbler Glint's head and declares them a full warrior FrogClan, honoring their equanimity. Snipsar has been following the progress of Dancing Paw for moons and feels that it's finally time for them to get their warrior name. They are granted the name Dancing Pelt in honor of their wit. FrogClan welcomes Swiftgale as a new warrior, honoring their commitment. I love that name. Snipsar has been following the progress of Blaze Paw for moons and feels it's finally time for them to get their warrior name. They are granted the name Blaze Moore in honor of their dignity. Newly made apprentice Cop's Paw touches noses with their new mentor Mau Mau Ghost. Even though they are excited to finally be made an apprentice, it takes a bit of coaxing by Gorsans for Fogkit to set forward for their ceremony. Gorsans watches in pride as they name Fogpaw and touch noses with Scalestripe. Gorsans is watching with pride as Conchpaw is named and given to Tawny Feather to apprentice under. They know Tawny Feather was a good choice. Oh man, I didn't see this when I was going through initially. Oh man. I'm just gonna say it, why does FrogClan get the really big deadly fight and Eclipse Clan gets nothing? And now, of all times, I thought we were gonna get through the full 150 moons without problems, I'll be honest. But instead, we get this, and That is that Evening Mist intentionally stayed behind to fight a losing battle, which gave Lakepaw time to escape. Since Lakepaw has been resigned to camp sick, I feel like she's probably been getting a little bit antsy, and despite her fever, decided to leave camp in order to try and gather some herbs, and didn't really recognize the full extent of the threat before her. Evening Mist happened to catch her in time and took her place in the ambush. Alapaw, meanwhile, threw themselves in front of an oncoming attack meant for Princess Light, taking the deadly blow instead. Aw, Brightorn's last kit. Poor Alapaw. Savvyback, unfortunately, does not survive head damage, which, at her age, I suppose isn't surprising, but it's very sad. Hair Shadow chokes back wails and tears, trying to get to the end of the story they've been telling about Evening Mist's days in the nursery. They can do this, they can make sure Evening Mist is honored at their vigil, even if Hair Shadow can't do anything else for them. Nobody can comfort Hair Shadow during the vigil. They are absolutely inconsolable, convinced that they'll never feel normal again without Evening Mist beside them. Oh. This past moon, Evening Mist, Alapaw, and Savvyback have taken their place in StarClan. FrogClan mourns their loss. So much grief and death has taken its toll on the cats of FrogClan. Snakefern and Jirachi Lightning are particularly shaken by it. Snakefern, I'm sure, because he's in a position to heal and couldn't be there for a lot of those cats. And Jirachi Lightning, because one of those cats was her kit, I'm sure. The stump where Snipstar's tail used to be has become infected. Hair Shadow's gotten heat exhaustion, so we're really not doing super well here. Jirachi Lightning wakes one day after moons of numbness and feels as though the world is less dull. Caseback is free of fleas at last. Hyacinth Petal recovers and then immediately regains heat exhaustion. So this summer in particular must also just be really, really warm. Gardenia's son has healed from the strain delivering their litter, but has also gotten heat exhaustion. Tiny Slash has recovered from water in their lungs, but has gotten heat exhaustion as well. So yeah, definitely a very warm summer then, I'm assuming. Scale Stripe feels much better, their soreness is gone. Warbler Paw's soreness is gone. Bluffbat has gotten rid of their fleas. Briarpaw has recovered from heat stroke, which is great. Sassy Fade picks himself out of their nest and begins the day anew with a fresh conviction in their heart. Blue Scratch has recovered from their sprain. Daisy May's tail is healing much better, so no clear sign mutation there. Fogpaw has gotten heat stroke. Perch Spot's claw wound is healed. Savvyback does not survive head damage. Princess Light has recovered from yellow cough. A meat paste for getting food and water into Dark Striped stomach, an herb paste to fight infection growing in their broken jaw. Richpaw racks their brain for anything else that might help their patient. And as the herb stores are inspected by medicine cats, it's noticed Rosemary has gone bad. It's definitely been a bloody few moons, and again, that is the last thing we've needed right now. Because before we were down to like here with our cats, and now we're all the way back up here. Poor Snipstar. She's currently bargaining with StarClan, begging them to send Alapaw back. And her tail is also infected, and she's fighting a battle on two sides, so she's really got stacked up against her right now. Stinky Laurel is currently feeling overworked. I'd be more surprised if she wasn't, honestly. Snakefern, despite his shock, is feeling content. Songjay is interpreting an omen, trying to find more information about what exactly is coming for the clan. Lakepaw had quite the adventure today. I'm sure you did. Okay, we'll go through our mediators real quick. Okay, not too notable there. Webstem will never forget Evening Mist. Namagos is wondering how Webstem is doing. Probably wondering about grief. I think Evening Mist was... yeah, Evening Mist was technically one of Webstem's kits, so... Here's Princess Light, now feeling better. Currently talking with Lilac Pell about what it's like to be a medicine cat. Maybe wondering if that's a better path for her. Furbyshine is feeling lazy today. Cleocrawl is trying to set a good example. Crestbillow is still trying to set a good example as well. As is Tawnyfeather. Workghost is wondering how Whirldapple is doing. Whirldapple also got hurt, and I'm sure is probably feeling some amount of grief with everything going on in the clan, so that's not really a surprising inquiry. Odetta Whisker is trying to set a good example as well. Fluffy Haven is sparring. If even our playful cat, who's kind of like class clown, is kind of how I would see him as, is putting everything down to more seriously spar, then you know we're in some dire straits here. Skystalk is busy chastising clanmates, but no one knows what for. Whimsy Shade wants to get to know K-Spec better. Hyacinth Petal is fishing for compliments on our recently groomed fur, maybe from Skystalk there. Sassy Fade is feeling better and is thankful for the safety of the camp. Dusty Cuddles does not have as much confidence in the safety of the camp, however. Corstance is offering a helping paw even after a night of bad sleep. I feel like Corstance, given what was sacrificed for her, is probably always going to continue to pay it forward. As a compassionate cat, and just like given her looks, I feel like Brighttorrent probably saw Corstance as a better version of a younger her, or would view Corstance as the kind of cat she would maybe want to be if she got a chance to do it all over again. And I could see that being some of the reason for their closeness too. So I think after Brighttorrent's sacrifice, Corstance is always going to move to improve the lives of others around her. Pumpkin Seed wants to critique Sassy Fade's fighting techniques. Here's Bluffbat, a bit more grown up. Still troublesome and a talented swimmer. He can't seem to sit still right now. Here's Cinnamon Laurel, a bit more grown up too. Currently sparring with some clanmates. Here's Warbler Glint. She grew to be strict and a great hunter and good swimmer. Almost got lost near some two-leg nests. She was mentored by K-Spec, who influenced her to be more likely to be friendly, avoid a fight, and make impulsive decisions. When she graduated, she was honored for their equanimity. So I feel like what she ended up being is kind of the opposite of what K-Spec was aiming to instill in her. I feel like just natural strictness and seeing a childish mentor kind of made Warbler Glint to take the opposite of most lessons. Here's Dancing Pelt. That kind of just gives me the image in my brain of like a pelt that's always like twitching. At least for both of my cats, their backs are very sensitive, so kind of like twitch in on itself, so maybe Dancing Pelt has a similar problem. He's planning to visit the medicine cat den. He is charismatic and a good swimmer. He was mentored by Seagull Dusk, who influenced him to be more likely to follow rules, interact with others, and resort to violence. And when they graduated, they were honored for their wit. And then here's Blaze Moore. I really think she's a very pretty cat. So wise and a learner of lore. Also plans to visit the medicine cat. Maybe just looking to see what herbs they can try and gather for the medicine cat or any other help they can offer right now. Blazemore was mentored by Stinky Laurel, who influenced her to be more likely to defend their beliefs and step out of their comfort zone. When they graduated, they were honored for their dignity. And then here's Swift Gale, righteous, excellent teacher, and good hunter. And is wondering if Olipaw will be chosen for the next gathering. I don't think Olipaw is getting chosen. Swift Gale was mentored by Fluffy Haven, who influenced her to be more likely to break rules that don't suit her, interact with others, and be slow to anger. Fluffy Haven helped her become better at teaching and hunting. When they graduated, they were honored for their commitment. I'm very curious to see what Swift Gale is going to look like next moon, but I love that name. Here's Briarpaw, grown up and finally feeling better. Nervous, careful listener, and confident with words. I really like this like purplish brown that she is. Alapaw is practicing hunting a smooth rock they found. Fishpaw is eavesdropping. Deltapaw is also practicing on the smooth rock. Shorepaw once learned something new today. Being oblivious, I'm wondering if he's just not really registering the full circumstance and attitudes around camp, and is instead just continuing on as if apprentices and training were all normal right now. Here's Copspaw though, grown up into an apprentice. She's lonesome but quick to make peace, and is feeling a sense of dread, being mentored by Mau Mau Ghost. I always hate when the cats get this because it usually does not bode well for the moon. Fogpaw is strict and quick to make peace, and is currently playing a prank on Stinky Laurel. This is what Fogpaw will look like healthy. Conchpaw is asking Hyacinth Petal for advice on passing an assessment. He has done a complete 180 from his kithood and went from bullying to loving and confident with words. So I'm curious to see how his journey continues. Hatchpal is feeling content, and Jirachi Lightning will never forget Olivepaw. Snake Kid is trying to growl menacingly. Frilled Kit is playing Mossball by themselves, and Nectar Kit is hunting bugs. So I think the kits are definitely being sheltered right now, whereas I feel like the apprentices are kind of getting pushed along to warriorhood a bit earlier than normal right now, and then maybe a bit more before they're ready right now, just for the sake of the clan bolstering their numbers of warriors. The heat of Greenleaf brings warmth to their pelt as Snakefern wanders, aimlessly searching for daisies to harvest their leaves. Frustratingly, some herbivores come through and feasted on the daisies that Snakefern targets, and so they can't find any good ones to recover. Songjae has to attend to one of their grimmer jobs as a medicine cat. The grounds where FrogClan goes to mourn their dead needs to be tended to. They are bringing along Ridgepaw as their assistant, and the two cats head out in relative silence. There's a sharp yell of pain, followed by a string of muttered curses, and Songjae turns to see Ridgepaw holding one of their paws off the ground. Seems the apprentice stepped on a thorn, so they need to go back to fix it up. Ridgepaw gets a small cut. Curldom heads out on what promises to be a fragrant patrol, looking for wild garlic. Curldon, ever eagle-eyed, spots grass that looks suspiciously tall with oddly thick blades. Unsiv confirms it to be garlic, and his patch has heaps to harvest. Greenleaf encourages the oak to reach its full potential, wide and towering, and Lilac Pelt goes to harvest its leaves. As a basic infection-preventing herb, oak leaves are useful for nearly all the various grates, cuts, and injuries Lilac Pelt sees in the den. They're always happy to bring a good crop back to the stores. Well, I thought I sent White Stripe and Briarpaw out on a training patrol together, but I guess I sent them on a border patrol. They hear a cat begging for their housefolk to come back, just barely legible over the sound of a monster speeding away. White Stripe finds the cave pet collapsed by the Thunder Path, with the only explanation for their abandonment being that they're sick. They tentatively accept our offer to join the clan, and the Yao Yao Trop has joined. So here's Yao Yao Trop. We've got Mau Mau and Yao Yao. She's a young adult female with copper eyes and a speckled orange pelt. She's troublesome, a learner of lore, and a great climber. 41 moons old, she is sick with white cough. Used to be a kitty pet, but something terrible happened to their two legs, probably leading less devoted two legs, abandoning her when she's sick. This is what she looks like healthy, with one little white paw it looks like. Let's see if she comes with any traits. Unfortunately, she does not, so she is just a normal cat. Alrighty, sending the cats actually out on a training patrol. While helping gathering herbs, Honeyfeather stumbles upon a bush of red berries. Unsure, but knowing the kitten tails are red death berries, Conchpaw avoids them and alerts the patrol who, extremely worried, confirm that it is a deathberry bush. But we avoided it, so we're good. Fleetly suggests this might be a good chance for the cats to practice a new hunting technique, especially for the apprentice's sake. But unfortunately, no one sets up to teach and the patrol disbands, awkward and irritated. Our final training patrol sees a disagreement who look to Jellyfish Wave to settle the dispute. Jellyfish Wave really reminds patrol cats to focus on their Sardan jobs and stop quarreling like kittens. This doesn't even mention that the cats go about their business with renewed vigor like some of the other ones, so I think it's just a very irritable day. With the summer being as hot as it is, I'm sure tempers are running high, especially with all the inclement stress. Our first border patrol spots a badger making a den on FrogClan territory. Webstem is not willing to let any cat die to a badger. They order the patrol to continue on while they wait on a FrogClan patrol to come by, giving them a warning of the badger and improving our relationships. While on patrol, Cinnamon Laurel notices some suspicious paw prints in the wet sand on the beach. Boldly, Conifer Speckle follows them to a trespassing rogue. Intimidated by our confidence and number of cats, the rogue gives in and leaves without a fight. Our patrol meets Bog Clan, a clan we consider allies at the border. We have a nice conversation before we continue patrolling. While walking along the border, we notice Worm Clan patrol renewing their scent marks ahead. Once the patrols cross paths, Mousestripe is quick to break the awkward atmosphere with a friendly greeting and easy conversation. They remember some news that the clan shared recently and bring it up, impressing the other patrol with their polite interests. Okay, so mechanically, that's very nice, because that means that we may not be at war, but I think flavorfully, we probably just had a more casual interaction with a rogue group that didn't automatically end in bloodshed when Mousestripe brought up, you know, some shared points that they have, or maybe even offers them help with whatever problem is plaguing them. And the rogues really appreciate the offer, but heavily imply that this isn't a problem that Mousestripe can help with. The only thing that will help is if they take the territory and if they get the boats that FrogClan has been living in for moons upon moons. The patrol members bring this back to the clan, a little bit confused by what they could mean. But a little idea is starting to take forth at the back of Snipstar's mind about what she may be able to do then. Dancing Pelt spies a fat rabbit on the other side of WormClan border. It's a tempting opportunity, but it may not be wise to hunt on different clans' territory. Right now especially, that's not really wise, but we're just gonna proceed. And luckily for us, Dancing Pelt pounces without hesitation, catching the rabbit, and trots back over the border, prize in tow, and transgression unnoticed. Alrighty, our last patrol with Stinky Laurel was just a storm, so we are avoiding that altogether. But I think that is going to be it for today's episode. This definitely is going to be a bit of a longer one, so it's kind of strange, but we are going to be going into our final moon and final event next episode, and we will see how FrogClan fares in that final event. I'm not going to be pulling any punches, so this is going to be true do or die here. And I'm really hoping we do. So, as always, thank you to Parental Units for supporting the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Until next time, stay safe and happy. See you all then, and bye!